So let's run through a few live edits. So first up, we've got a very difficult tree that we're going to take a quick look at. And this is a beautiful misty morning that I had in the woodland. And as you can see, this image is very underexposed. We can only just see the outline of the trees. But what we want to try and do here is get a nice evenly balanced exposure. So because the dynamic range was so massive in this shot, I decided to bracket 8 different exposures. So this is my most underexposed image, and this one here is my most overexposed image. So this image retains all the detail in the shadows, this one retains all of the detail in the highlights, and then all of the other shots are a stop in between. So basically what I'm going to do first is highlight all of these images by clicking on the first one, holding shift down and highlighting all of the images. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to click Photo Merge HDR. It's going to bring up the HDR preview. Now I'm going to click Auto Align Layers, Deghosting to None, Create Stack and click Merge. Just wait for Lightroom to merge these images together. So here we have our finished HDR image. It's come back into Lightroom as a .dng file, which is a digital negative file, which are Lightroom's own negative files. So we're going to run a quick edit on this now. Just going to warm it up a fraction just to get a little bit of that early morning vibe going on. Just remove a little bit of the magenta out of the tint there on the tint slider. Now we're going to lift the exposure up to around about there, stop over, boost the contrast a little, and these are all global adjustments, remember. I'm going to drop the highlights right down so we make sure we retain the highlights that we've got in this image. I'm going to boost the shadows up so we can bring out some of that detail, see how much more flexibility we've got now with the DNG file. Bring those whites down and push those blacks up a little bit. Add in a little bit of texture. Dial in a bit of negative clarity just to accentuate those misty conditions. Now I want to accentuate the brightness of this foreground here, so I'm going to drop in a radial filter somewhere around about there. I'm going to invert it. You can see where my mask is, that's everything that's going to be applied. I've already got some initial edits applied to this mask. I'm just going to click off those. I'm just going to boost my exposure of the foreground here around about a stop. And next we've got a beam of light that's coming through these trees, and I just want to accentuate that beam of light. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the adjustment brush. I'm going to click on, I'm going to make it around about the same size as the beam of light. I'm going to click here and then I'm going to hold shift down, and that's going to draw a straight line for us. Now I'm just going to bring up the highlights a little bit just so we can see that beam of light, add a little bit of positive warmth to it, and I'm going to just bring down the dehaze as well just to make it look a little bit more misty looking, somewhere around there. I'd say actually that's probably a little bit too strong. I'm going to dial that back a little bit. If you're ever accentuating beams of light, you've got to be really careful that you don't make it look like you've just painted a line in the picture. That looks a lot better. So I'm really happy with this now, but I just want to add in a little bit more black to the image. Just come up here and make sure I'm not losing too much detail. I'm just going to paint in a little bit more contrast too, and just push up the exposure a little bit more, and then just boost the overall saturation and vibrancy a little bit just to give it a bit of a boost. That looks really nice. Now there's just one of the little distraction in this image, and that's this log that's just creeping into the side of the frame. So the easiest way to get rid of that is just to crop in a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do, just to get rid of that, and just raise my crop up a little bit as well, just to help the overall composition, because we've got this green shrubbery here in the foreground which kind of sits on that bottom right hand third, and then the main trunk of the tree follows up and bends over. So I think overall that beam of light sits in that top right hand third as well. So overall this is helping the composition a little bit as well. So I'm just going to click done. So I've chosen this image because it's clearly underexposed, and I wanted to just show you how you can save an image. I did take a couple of other shots of this particular scene that were better exposed than this one. So I think this is a good example of where we can save an image, turn otherwise rubbish image into a keeper. So let's go ahead and run an edit on this image. So for this one I'm going to choose a color profile, and I'm going to come down and choose one of my Fuji film simulations. I'm going to choose Provia. Let's just add in a little bit more saturation and a little bit more vibrancy to the image, and a bit more contrast too, which is nice. It's going to be a good starting point for us. So clearly this image is underexposed, so I'm going to boost the exposure to start with. Somewhere around about there looks good. Because we're losing a lot of detail in the shadows, I'm going to boost those shadows up quite a bit. As you can see, that's really helping improve this image overall now. Because it's quite hazy, I'm going to use the dehaze tool just to bring in a bit more of that clarity here in the background. And I'm going to add a tone curve to this just by using the medium contrast preset, just to boost the contrast in this image. Now already this image is looking a lot better, but there's a lot more we can do to it to improve it further. When I took this image, I envisaged maybe a square crop, so just ignore the composition for now, but we'll come in and crop that in a bit. So I'd like to add a graduated filter to the sky just to bring down the exposure in the sky, because as we can see, it's at the minute it's too bright. Even though we're going to be cropping into this image, I want to reduce that exposure down a little bit. So somewhere around about there is probably good, and I'm going to bring that exposure down by a couple of stops somewhere there. As you can see, that's giving the image an overall better feel straight away. But I want to accentuate some of this golden glow here, and I'm going to use the radial filter for that. So I'm just going to drag over the radial filter into that area. I'm going to invert it so it's applying the effect inside of the circle, and then I'm just going to boost the temperature up to around about there somewhere, just to add in that golden glow to that area of the scene, just to give it a little bit of a boost. And I might just add in a little bit of saturation as well, not too much, don't want to overdo it, but that looks nice. Next up I'm going to drop in another radial filter to the midground, because it's looking a little bit flat at the minute, and I want to boost everything up a little bit just to make it look a bit better. Somewhere around about there, that looks nice. So again, I'm just going to warm it up a little bit. I'll just invert the mask to make sure everything's applied inside the filter. Just going to warm it up a fraction. Add in a little bit of contrast. Now, as we said before, this is a local adjustment, so it's just applying these effects into area in which we want the effects to be applied. Just going to bring down the blacks a little bit. Just adding contrast into this area, basically brightening parts of it up, add in some texture and a little bit of clarity too. Now I'm just a bit wary that I'm touching the top of that rock there and not really sure. Just want it to affect this area of the land here. So yeah, that looks nice. So I just want to bring out some of the shadow detail in this rock, and again I'm going to do that with another radial filter. Click invert to make sure we're making the adjustment inside of the radial filter, and I'm just going to bring out the shadows a little bit just to brighten it up a bit and add in a bit more texture to that as well, just to make that rock pop out a little bit. That looks good. So all that's left to do now is to crop into this shot, and as I said before, I kind of thought a square crop would suit this image, so let's click 1:1 in the crop and bring it down, and I think that works a lot better because we've got the horizon level there on the actual top third, and that just allows the image to have some natural flow to it, and I think that's looking a lot better. I might just add in a vignette to this image as well. And I'm going to do that with the vignette tool at the bottom. Just to draw the eye into the scene. I think that looks really nice. Just a little bit. As you can see here, I must have a bit of dust or something on my lens or my sensor. And there's a bit of a blob on the screen. You can just see it there. So I'm going to use the spot removal tool just to get rid of that. And hopefully it's going to do a good job for us. Yep, perfect. So there we have it, finished image. And I think that's, you know, a badly taken photo, you know, brought back to life with a bit of simple editing.